Today I had a go at repairing the front plastics. I lost some footage of what it was like before I started. This might give you an idea. There's a hole cut in the plastic here, exposing the starter relay. The front plastic shows a crack across here. Rear plastics, cracks there and cracks here, but the pieces are still in position. The actual inner guards are in position. I lost some footage today of me removing pieces of skirt around the front plastics. Both those pieces came off. They're undamaged. I got all the screws to unscrew without shearing any off. The actual front guards, that's the left hand side one. It's undamaged also came off with all the screws. This one was damaged. It had a tear through here, which I have now repaired. You'll see a little bit later on when I repaired that. I repaired it by putting little staples across the joint. The staples I used came from this kit. Comes with 4 different size or shape staples. Ended up using 3 different types on the work I did today. Really surprised how that kit, which I think was $24 delivered from eBay, has worked. I've wire brushed that bash plate and that bumper bar up, and they're looking pretty good. Very small dent only in the bash plate, which I knocked out easily, and a very small mark in the bumper. The rear plastics over there got lots of tears and rips in them, and you'll see how crappy they look laying there, just folded over because of the problems with it. Now the front plastics didn't look much better. There's a tear right through here. It went up through here, and it was nearly torn completely through there. If it had torn through there and down here, the 2 halves would have fallen completely in half. There was also a tear down the side here, all of which I've repaired, and it's all in footage that I've lost. Now that that's back and attached on the bike, shape-wise it's perfect. So I've been very pleased with how this staple kit has gone. I just wish I had some before shots rather than the that I've lost today. My first practice go with these staples was with this old blue top that is a complete write-off, and it's been laying around here. It was handy for just testing the first staples that I put in, and you can see I was concerned about pushing them all the way through the plastic, but I found that they went in there easily. Those 3 staples are either side of this hump here. So on the outside, and I didn't bother to try and clean any of this, that's holding that together quite well, quite level. I'm now ready to try stitching that tear in the mudguard together. So I'm going to have a go at putting a few staples along this seam here. I've got that squeezy clamp there helping to hold it together. I'll probably put the first staple in up near that clamp. The rest of it is then held together without the clamp in the way. It's like tacking. I've heard this procedure described a bit like welding. Welding steel, where you tack and then fill in the gaps. Well, that's my first attempt on this guard. Didn't go as well as I would have liked. The first 2 staples I put in punched through the other side, and I sort of dragged them back a bit, but otherwise that gaping crack there is looking better, and I'll perhaps experiment with a soldering iron as well to see whether any sort of improvement can be made. Its surface is fairly level across here. Those staples that went in too far and I dragged back, don't think I can feel it there, but I don't know whether they're still proud on this side or not. I'm feeling more confident that I can tackle certain parts of the green top now. Okay, one of the first staples I put in was that one there, which pulled this whole side in together, and then I tried a couple of staples along here. I don't know that I've got, because it's like a hollow there, not sure about what the best staple to use is, but this hasn't worked too badly so far for me. After a few of those pressed in there, I put a block of wood in behind there so I had a backing piece. I think now I can put more staples in between these existing ones. They won't need the backing piece in there. But I'm going to now go ahead and put a couple there and one there and a couple here and a couple here and a couple here and a couple more there. Finish that seam off. Not too concerned about how many staples I used. I put one up there as well, because if this had broken through here and up through there, all it would have been holding was a little piece down here, holding the two halves together. Each staple seems to be holding a reasonable amount of pressure. It's been going okay.
Sorry for the background noise. I've got Bathurst showing on the shed tally this weekend.
So I'm pretty happy with that. As I put more in, the stiffer, the less I had to try and hold it together. It was holding itself together, and I think I've created quite a strong joint across there now. That's what that joint looks like from the top. Held together, there looks like a piece missing there. Rather than me try and push that together further, it's joined again pretty well. Actually, it's raised a little bit up here, but then flush around there, so it hasn't sort of pushed down as well as it could have just in that location, but from about there onwards. But otherwise, it's looking pretty good. Really, the only main damage left on this piece is the slice in the top. Obviously, this is all missing. I might try and 3D print something to suit that hole, and also this hole's been cut in it, which also might be looking at a 3D print. So they've got this tear here from there to there, which should be pretty simple to fix on the inside, and I'll have a pretty good piece of plastic after all that. I've attached these plastics, front plastics that I mended. One of the mends was down through there, which has come up good. I've scratched off that side sticker. Part of it's glue and part of it's original green. I'm going to put a little bit of heat from a heat gun on it and see what matters. This one is actually difficult to take off. It's a safety notice about the thematic fan. I'm actually going to leave it there for now. I'm wondering whether this coloured sun affected plastic will go green like that once it's been heated with the heat gun. It's only the exposed, sunlight exposed areas that have been affected by the sun, obviously. This cover, now that it's fixed here and in there, it's on there quite nicely and probably as good as, or better than my other bikes. So I'm pretty happy with how that stapler worked. I'm now going to have a go with the heat gun and see whether I can turn it dark green. I've got this heat gun set to 400 degrees and I'm heating away at the bottom here a little bit just before. And you can see that bottom strip there is changing colour just with me working along there. We're now getting up to 400 degrees. I don't think I'm going to set the plastics on fire at this temperature. I think it's quite sort of controllable. I'm working my way around that edge. Appears to be changing colour for me. So if it's as easy as that to get the colour back into these plastics, and there's no risk of fire doing it this way. I can even turn it down if I think it's getting too hot. But I'm going to continue with this heat gun on that setting and see what sort of result I'm going to get. That's that part of the plastics. 400 degrees hot air has changed the colour. This is where the sticker was, and so that's nice and shiny. This is still a bit of a sort of powdery finish. It's coming back with colour. There's spots there I can probably hit again. That's all I've got time for today. I think I've had a really good success with this front plastic process. I'd like to thank Simon's post about how to heat plastic and get it to change colour.
I'll get a bit of colour back into all of that tomorrow. Get out to your shed and have some fun.